When we were born, we were this nice whole individual. And then through our conditioning, they threw a piece of this away, threw a piece of that away, and this away. And every time we say we're going to do something, don't do it, we throw a little piece of our self-honor away, and we sort of start dissecting ourselves, really. And you got to start taking those pieces back and putting yourself back together as being whole, a whole human being, being within in integrity, that wholeness of self. One of the things that I really had to declare was when it was an awakening and an awareness that we are it. We're responsible for everything that happens in our life. And when we say we're not, then we fault a victim. We're a victim of whatever we say, this is not our fault. However, when we do declare that somehow, some way, I created this to learn from it, then you take your power back. When you start believing that way, you don't sabotage yourself. That self-sabotage starts falling off. In the past, what my focus was getting through life, and my belief was that life was a struggle, and at times I was depressed because I focused on things that things happened and I made them mean something that depressed me, and I focused on that. And then I started on a path of positive, whatever you want to call it, positive motivation or positive books. I also had taken workshops. I was a practitioner and then got trained in the master practitioner so that I had ways to deal with those things. I had tools, change tools. There's a technique where you take yourself into a movie theater and you put on the first start of the incident that happened. You put it up there and you freeze it, like you put a pause on a VCR, and then you imagine yourself floating out of your body, floating up into the projection room, which is called double disassociation. And so you look down on yourself watching the screen. And then you start the movie. You fast forward it. And then you fast backwards it, fast forward, fast backward. What you're really doing is you're taking the emotionality out of it because you're destroying the picture, actually. And that's what I did. And then further on, after you do that so many times, where it desensitizes it, then you take the film, so to speak, and you leave the theater and you look up into the sun and you toss it up into the sun and it explodes, and then you go back in and you recreate a new film for yourself. You run it how you would have liked to have seen it, or you run it in a way that it empowers you, and you run it 3 times. One from you being up in the projection office, you float back down into your body watching it again, and then you go up to the screen and you actually jump in so you're totally associated and you actually live that experience. Another program I went to is where we discover there's a question that we form when we're 3 or 4 years old. And it's called the primary question. And what I found was my primary question was, is this safe? If it was no, it's not safe. The second question was, well then just how can I just get through this? And bringing that into my awareness and blowing it out with certain techniques, I found that a whole new life opened up when I started evaluating life differently. I can now enjoy the adventure in my life. I don't have to worry about, is this safe or is this not safe, and I'm not just going to get through it. I'm going to go after it. That takes a habit pattern of following through on your word, on what you say. People, when they say, well, I'm going to lose 2 pounds, or I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock tomorrow and I'm going to do a run, and 4 o'clock comes and they go, shit, I'm going to sleep in, and they have a habit of doing that, their unconscious mind, every time they say, well, I'm going to do this, I declare, and the unconscious mind's going, BS. You ain't going to do that. But if you start making your word the law, and say when you do say you're going to do something and you follow through and you have a habitual pattern of following through on what you say you're going to do, then your unconscious mind has got to go, well, they do what they say they're going to do, so we got to make this happen. We don't want to make a liar out of them. So you get in tune with your unconscious mind or your other than conscious mind, and everything drives in one direction. yourself. You have positive conversations. You encourage yourself. What do you want? Let's see how we can get it for you. In the faith is, it's going to happen. It's an assumption that, this will be. Just because this is what I want. This is what I've declared to have. Kind of like having your word be the law of your universe. You say something, you're going to do it, and your unconscious mind says that I will be done. We were talking about yesterday is living from the future. You declare a way of being from the future. This is what I want in the future, and then you bring that future into the now and live from the future other than living from the past. Because when we live from the past, we just bring up everything that happened before and it's a bunch of reruns in our life. And there's no possibility or a way to transform or change when you live like that. But when you set something out and declare something in the future and bring it back and live from that, then you're living from total possibility. There's no handicaps. There's nothing there that says, oh, you can't do that because last time you did that. I mean, it's all new stuff. And your mind is working in a way, and your unconscious is working in a way that delves in and sort of pushes you towards that when that vision sort of pulls you. So you've got everything working for you instead of sometimes working for you or sometimes against you.